What's up, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Q&A. For our first question, Ben and Mr. JD Rice ask if the upcoming KOTOR Remake is going to make the game canon.
The thing you can count on for any time any new Star Wars project is announced, the very first question I see is it canon? Doesn't matter what it is, but, you know, this one is interesting because they haven't really said either way. I'm expecting it to just be a remake. It's going to remain Legends, but I've also read reports, I think Cinelinx had a report that they were going to do some things to make it not necessarily be canon, but be a little more familiar to, like, newer fans. Like, they might add crossguard lightsabers or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that I've read just said Legends. Like, this will stay in the Legends category.
I think that's probably the way they'll go. I think they're just remaking it because it's such a popular game. It is, I think, one of the best Star Wars stories out there, especially a Star Wars game story. So I think that they just know that it will do very well, and it could do with an update. I think the mechanics, the gameplay, they're a little clunky. It's from 2003. I mean, it's kind of like when you go back and play GoldenEye and you're like, man, I can't believe this was like peak first-person shooter gaming. And
Gaming's
now you play
come
it
a long way.
Exactly. And this is a story worth updating. I could see them somehow fitting it into canon. There are some things that would need to be changed, but I wouldn't say they'd be all that difficult to change, because Aspire Media is saying, like, we are rebuilding the game from the ground up. But I think that in cases like this, it's better to expect, no, it's going to stay Legends. And if it winds up being canon, then yay, we all get excited and surprised.
Yeah. I feel like the conversation we should be having here is, why does it matter?
Right, because it doesn't. I mean...
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Like, it's a great Star Wars story, whether it's canon or not. It's so much fun to play and experience, and I've said this before, but, like, I'm going to talk about spoilers when it comes to it, but I'm like, try to avoid spoilers if you've never played it before, because it's going to be fun. But I like the idea that it doesn't really matter if it's Legends or canon, because the nature of the game is that, like, people love Revan because you are Revan, and you get to make these choices and stuff. So I like the idea that they never make a concrete definition of Revan is a man that looks like this, like they did in Legends. Now it could be Revan is whoever you want him to be, or she, and they made whatever decisions you wanted. They stayed with the light, they stayed with the dark, whatever you want. And then they can reference Revan, like they have been, but it doesn't have to be like, this is Revan.
Yeah. I love a good gender-fluid video game character.
Yeah.
Rick Villanueva wants to know what the strangest profession in Star Wars is.
The one that pops into my head is the rebel on Yavin in that crow's nest thing with the little gun. Like, what's he doing?
Is he just always, like, taking people... How fast are they going? And he's giving out speeding tickets?
I mean, I think he's scanning ships as they're coming in and, you know, getting their information. But I feel like he's just some guy that maybe was getting in the way of things. And they're like, hey, Hank, why don't you go up there? Like, this is a very important job. Go up there and scan ships. We don't have a machine that does that. You need to do it. And they're just like, oh my God, just get him out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, farming moisture is kind of strange. It's a very like futuristic idea that in the future, or in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, you would have this planet that is so dry, we need to actually farm moisture somehow.
That's kind of one of the things that Star Wars took from Dune.
Yeah. Brandon Velasquez asks, if we were forced to be part of the Empire, who would we want to serve under?
I pretty easily think Nita is the best guy for the job.
How so?
Because he's someone that's not willing to throw an underling under the bus. When he lost the Millennium Falcon, he was like, I will take full responsibility and apologize to Lord Vader. Cross my fingers and hope for the best. Didn't work out for him, but I mean, that's a good leader.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good one.
Just about everyone else in the Empire is like, nope, their fault. Choke him.
I would say Vader, just because, yeah, he's mean and scary, but like, you could just be around and have the chance to see him mess something up. Or
is this like a Pippin?
Do something dumb.
Is this Pippin logic? The closer you are to danger, the farther you are from harm?
Yes.
You just like right behind him at all times. Like, if he can't see me, he can't choke me.
I mean, his peripheral vision is trash anyways.
That's true. Or do you subscribe to the robot chicken idea that Vader doesn't really have the power to choke people?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone just pretends that he does.
Everyone pretend. Yeah, I like that too. Ted Fox wants to know if we're going to cover Dune at all when the movie comes out.
A little bit. So I'm sure we'll do an Explain It to Me on our second channel. But I do have some Dune related videos for this channel because, like I just said earlier, Dune inspired some stuff for Star Wars, and I had never read Dune until just recently. So now I'm working on videos about like, yeah, what Star Wars took from Dune. And I think I'm going to do a video just on my reactions to the book. Just a Star Wars fan experiencing Dune for the first time. I'll probably do that on this channel.
Yeah, I did not read the book, unfortunately. I did see a little bit of the old movie and was left even more confused than I originally was.
I was doing my best to try to explain what was going on. And yeah, the movie is like, if I hadn't read the book, I would have no clue what was happening. And even though I read the book, I was still trying very hard to explain things, and I think I just made it worse.
But yeah, check out Malik's, which is our second channel, where we cover all of our non-Star Wars stuff. We'll definitely be talking about it over there. Hiramatsu asks what we thought of Shang-Chi. Got a lot of non-Star Wars questions.
Yeah, I mean, I took them because we've been really busy. We went on a vacation. We had Dragon Con this past week, so we just haven't had the time to cover as much stuff as we have in the past on our second channel. But yeah, we saw Shang-Chi this past Wednesday, and I liked it a lot.
Loved it. It's easily in my top 10 of Marvel movies. I don't have an exact ranking, but I can confidently say top 10.
That's like 10. The top half, then.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I didn't hate it.
No, not at all.
Okay, top 8.
Okay, all right.
How's that? I immediately wanted to go out and, in fact, did go out and purchase a Morris plushie.
Oh, I meant to bring that in here.
I fell in love with Morris. He's the best.
I thought that the action scenes were awesome. I really loved the bus fight and the construction site fight on the side of that skyscraper. Really, really great, just choreographed fight scenes. And we also just like the actor a lot because we watched Kim's Convenience. Mm-hmm. So, and he's also about to be in Star Wars Visions. So this is a Star Wars relevant question.
Yeah. And Awkwafina was great in it too. I love her humor, and everything she's been in that I've seen, I've loved. So
that's it for our patron questions. If you're a patron and you didn't see your question answered here, just head over to Patreon, where we leave every submitted question a written response. If you're not a patron, you can learn more by following the link in the description. We have tons of other rewards like audio commentaries for the films and every new Star Wars series premiering on Disney+. We also record video reactions to every new series as we watch them for the first time. We're doing book clubs to discuss every new Star Wars book as they release. We have behind-the-scenes content, comic reactions every Wednesday, and more. All of that is available right now on our Patreon if you're interested.
On to YouTube questions. Bail Organa asks what we would have done if we were normal citizens in the Galactic Civil War.
I mean, I would like to think that I'd be good enough to pilot an X-Wing. I'd join the rebellion and hopefully pilot an X-Wing.
So you join the cause.
Yeah, I mean, to fly an X-Wing. And for good reasons, too.
Yeah. I might just, try to mind my own business and not get involved.
Really?
But I would be secretly involved because I would be a spy. See? I got you.
Oh, you got me.
I got you. Got all of you.
I'd do my best to be a pilot, and when they said that I wasn't suitable for flying, I'd be like, can I, be a mechanic or gas him up or something.
Gas him up.
Yeah. I want to be involved. I'll wind up being Hank up in the tower. Like,
Hank.
As long as I'm helping.
Yeah. Cypher Foxy wants to know when in the timeline we think the Bad Batch will end.
I don't think it's going to go too much farther. I would guess 6 months, maybe a year have already passed. I think it'll span about the same amount of time as Star Wars Rebels, which was like 4 years. So maybe 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. That seems to work for some reason to me. Nice roundish number.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a crazy time jump or anything. It would be cool if we did, but for some reason this show just feels more like, okay, and here's what happened immediately after that, and just whatever happens next. So
it's
I'd
more
say
about
5 years or less.
Yeah, it's more about the transition than anything else and how a republic turns into an empire. So I think that's what they're going to focus on, and that can't take too long. Like, Fallen Order takes place 5 years afterwards, and by then the transition is done. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to go too far down the timeline.
Patrick Ramsey asks if the Cloud Rider gang could be inspired by the Nihil. I think I've talked about this before.
We've discussed it before. I've done a video on it before, but I'm bringing it up again because A, it had a lot of votes, but B, we more recently saw the authors talking about this. They were all asked it during a live stream, and they all seemed surprised by the idea, and they were all kind of like, oh, well, wait a second now. Like, why do people think that? And then they were like, oh, the masks, and yeah, they're marauders. And so either they were playing very coy, or that just wasn't their intent. It could be either one.
Yeah. I mean, aren't there members of the Nihil called Clouds?
Right. I mean, that's one of the reasons that people think. And I definitely, if it's not true, I like the headcanon a lot.
I do too. And yeah, you're right about the masks too. I think it's a cool connection. Whether or not it's meant to be a connection, we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, my headcanon is that, yes, there's something there.
It kind of fits with things with like the Staros family or the Graffs or the Lor San Tekkas, where they have these positions of power, but then we jump into the Skywalker saga timeline and they have fallen from grace. And they also seem to have become better people. So I like the idea that the Nihil go from this terrible big group to a smaller group of marauders, but like more of a Robin Hood type thing. Mm-hmm. And the way that might transition. So at this point, I'm going to take the authors at their word and say that that's not something they're building towards, but you know how these Star Wars people are. They could be...
You know how they are.
They could just be hiding things. But then, if that were the case, I don't think Charles Soule would have brought the question up. Like, I don't know. There's like layers within layers of manipulation here.
Sophie Rack wants to know if we'll see Cobb Vanth in the Book of Boba Fett, maybe wearing Cad Bane's outfit this time.
I love that idea. And they suggest that Cobb just finds it in a thrift store or something. But the idea that he keeps on finding these cool clothes and he's like, oh, put this on. And then Cad Bane shows up to take his hat back.
Yeah, because he loves that hat.
Uh-huh. I would be fearful if he had Cad Bane's stuff on. Because the last time Cad Bane liked a hat in the Clone Wars, he just shot the dude and took it.
Yeah.
Don't shoot my boy.
Also, he doesn't need to be wearing hats with hair like that.
I know. That's a good point.
No hats, no helmets. Let's just let the hair do what it does best.
Right. Which is look fabulous. But I do hope that we see Cobb Vanth somewhere again. I mean, it might not be in the Book of Boba Fett, but if he's basing himself on Tatooine, you know, it's like I wanted and I don't, because I would be afraid that Boba Fett's going to go after him and be like, how dare you wear my armor? Like, just don't kill him, please.
I don't think he'll show up in Book of Boba Fett. I would be excited if he did show back up in The Mandalorian at some point. Just, you know, we're probably going to end up back on Tatooine at some point. And, you know, they've got him and Din have like a relationship now. So maybe somewhere down the line, he could need some help, and there's Cobb Vanth.
If Cobb Vanth dies, I'm quitting Star Wars for like an hour, and then I'll be back.
Okay. I'll be ready for that hour. Daniel Scold asks if the Armorer's helmet suggests that she was loyal to Maul as the leader of Mandalore.
There's another question that we've talked about before, but I'm going to bring it up again because I was just lucky enough at DragonCon to moderate the panel with Emily Swallow, who played the Armorer, and she brought that up. She talked about how fans will approach her and ask her questions like that, and she said, I don't know. She knows what we know, basically.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. I don't really think it means that. It's very possible because, Filoni's involvement and everything, but I don't know, just the way that the Children of the Watch are, I feel like they were already something separate.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she would not have followed someone like Maul, who was not a Mandalorian, but, maybe she did and regrets it, and that's why she's, swung the pendulum so far in the opposite direction.
Yeah, it sounds like the Children of the Watch, they're just a lot more old school than anything else, so maybe there's, some ancient helmet design that had spikes, and that's kind of why the Armorer rocks that kind of helmet. It's like a Pope hat, or an Archbishop hat. That was just the style back then.
I figure it was just something to make her look distinct.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are horns on it, but I don't know. When you look at the Mandalorians from the Clone Wars, they straight up have, the Dathomirian horns.
Mm-hmm.
And hers, I don't think, have that strong of a connection. But it's possible they could be subtly hinting. That's all the time we have for questions today. If you want to leave a question for next week's video, just put it in the comments below or sign up for Patreon to join our weekly Q&A discussion and get a guaranteed answer. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitch.
And as always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.